The number one thing that the Arrowverse is most well known for are the annual crossovers that come out at the end of every year. These crossovers bring together the superheroes from a couple different TV shows, namely Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow, and they come together to form a group, a superhero group, that fights a greater evil that they can't really defeat individually. Although they're never called this is essentially the Justice League of this universe, although they never really had Batman, Wonder Woman, or Green Lantern, and a couple different superheroes that are main staples of the Justice League. They are still Justice Leagues nonetheless, and in this video I will go over every single one of these Justice League groups and rank them from worst to best. The way I will do this is I will take each Justice League and break it down into 4 different sections, and each section will give a number of points for a total of 23 possible points. These sections are the main team giving up to 12 points, which consists of the team, the superheroes that are the main focus of the crossover, and they are a major part of the final battle at the end. Then there are the side heroes who are not necessarily a part of the big battle at the end. If they are, then it's a very small role, and they might have appeared in a different episode, might have had a smaller role in other episodes, but as long as they appeared in the crossover at all, but didn't really have a major role at the end or in the team at all, then they will be considered for the side heroes, and the side heroes can give up to 6 points. Then there are the behind-the-scenes crew, which are the characters that are in the background helping out, not on the field, but like behind the computers or behind like technology and stuff, helping in the background. This part of it can give up to 4 points. And then there's other, which are characters who are barely in the crossover and barely helping out for the most part, but are still helping out at least a little bit. And this part of it can only give up to 1 point. All of that coming together for 23 total points for each one of these Justice Leagues, and I will rank them with all of these scores in mind. So without further ado, let's go over every single Arrowverse crossover Justice League ranked from worst to best. In 5th and last place, we have the Justice League from Flash vs. Arrow. Now, this is definitely not my least favorite crossover by a mile. It's definitely one of the better ones, but it's also at the bottom of the list because they were not going for a Justice League. They were not going for a big superhero group. That was not the intention of this crossover. The intention was to bring together 2 superheroes in the Arrow and the Flash, and bring them together for a big crossover event that they really have to fight 2 different villains on their respective shows, and the main part of one of the episodes was for 2 of them to fight each other, and that was it. So it makes sense that this is at the bottom of the list because they weren't going for a Justice League, they were going for a team-up, and that is it. But the main team of this quote-unquote Justice League is the Arrow, aka Oliver Queen, and the Flash, aka Barry Allen, which only gets 4 out of 12 points because it's only 2 characters, not exactly enough for a team, although these 2 characters definitely have a lot of chemistry, and they definitely work very, very well together. Then there are the side heroes, which consists of one guy, Arsenal, aka Roy Harper, which gets a 3 out of 6 because while I do like Arsenal quite a lot, that is only 1 character, so although he does get 3 out of 6 points, they can't really give more than that for just 1 character. Then the behind-the-scenes crew consists of Felicity, Cisco, Caitlin, Harrison Wells, Joe West, and Diggle, as well as Lila, which is a very good, respectable amount of characters, and these characters definitely work very well together with the heroes, as well as each other in these seasons, as well as this crossover, so that gets a 3 out of 4 points. And then there's the other, which in this crossover is really only Iris, and that is it, who didn't really help out much. She didn't really have to do much with the crossover, so this section of the crossover, this section of the Justice League will only get 0 out of 1 points, so that is a total of 9 total points for this team, which is the lowest out of any score for the Justice Leagues in these crossovers, but again, it makes sense because a Justice League is not what they were going for. In 4th place, we have the Justice League from Heroes Join Forces. Now, this is the only crossover that I genuinely dislike. I don't like this crossover because I think they have way too much focus on drama, and the main characters they focus on, Hawkman and Hawkgirl, they're really bad, and the main villain also really, really sucks in Vandal Savage. So this is definitely the worst crossover, but it's not the worst Justice League because they were actually trying to go for a much bigger superhero group this time around. The main team consists of Green Arrow this time, not the Arrow, aka Oliver Queen, the Flash, aka Barry Allen, the First Black Canary, aka Laura Lance, Speedy, aka Thea Queen, Hawkman, aka Carter Hall, Hawkgirl, aka Kendra Saunders, and Spartan, aka John Diggle. Now this group gets 6 out of 12 points because although it definitely is a lot more of a Justice League, there are a lot of characters in this group that are not great, specifically Hawkman and Hawkgirl, although they are definitely main staples of the Justice League in the comics. but they were adapted so horribly to this screen, to the Heroes Join Forces crossover, that they definitely do not help out the team at all. Considering they were the main focus of this crossover, again, does not help out at all. Then there's Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow, my favorite character in the Arrowverse, but I have to say he sucked in Arrow Season 4. He forgot how to fight, he cared more about Felicity than anything else at all in the world, and his costume also looked pretty ridiculous without the sleeves, at least on screen, so that's already half the team that is not good in this crossover. The Flash was great, Black Canary's pretty good, and Speedy definitely has an awesome costume and is definitely pretty cool, but also Spartan had a stupid costume. This team definitely didn't look cool on screen, with a very small lack of color, and the costumes for Green Arrow and Spartan, as well as Hawkman and Hawkgirl, not exactly looking very good, but the Flash definitely carries this team pretty far past the rest, so I'll give it a 6 out of 12. Then there is the side heroes, which this time around, though, they don't really have any, except for Malcolm Merlin, aka the Dark Archer, who did definitely help out for the most part against Vandal Savage, but considering he was a villain, and also during Season 4 of Arrow, he also sucked, just like the rest of the show, so I'll give this part of the team a 2 out of 6. Then there is the behind-the-scenes crew, which consists of Felicity, Cisco, Caitlin, and Harry Wells. Again, like the rest of Arrow, Felicity sucked in this season, so that definitely brings it down quite a lot. Then there's Cisco, Caitlin, and Harry Wells, which are all pretty good during the Flash Season 2 and also during this crossover, so that gets a 2 out of 4. Then in the other, there's like Patty Spivot, and that's really it, so I don't think that's enough to give a whole point for this section. You'll see later in the video how much you need in the other part of it to get a point, so this will get 0 out of 1 for a total score of 10 out of 23, which is saying a lot considering this one went for a Justice League while the Flash vs. Arrow one didn't. This only got 1 more point than that one. In third place, we have the Justice League from Crisis on Earth X. This is a Justice League that is far larger than the rest. It has like 20 characters, 20 heroes on the team, which makes for some pretty awesome moments, but also makes for a lot less character-focused moments as well, which is why I don't like this team nearly as much as the next two teams that I will go over, even though it is a lot larger. This team consists of the Green Arrow, aka Oliver Queen, the Flash, aka Barry Allen, Supergirl, aka Kara Danvers, White Canary, aka Sarah Lance, Atom, aka Ray Palmer, Firestorm, aka Jefferson Jackson, as well as Martin Stein, Vibe, aka Cisco Ramon, Heatwave, aka Mick Rory, Vixen, aka Maya Shewa, Citizen Steel, aka Nate Haywood, Mr. Terrific, aka Curtis Holt, Wild Dog, aka Renee Ramirez, Black Canary, aka Donna Drake, Killer Frost, aka Caitlin Snow, The Ray, aka Ray Terrell, Citizen Cold, aka Leo Snart, as well as Zari Tomaz and Alex Danvers. This is a group that is so incredibly large, with such a large amount of heroes as well as non-heroes, characters who shouldn't really be on a Justice League, like Heatwave or Zari or Alex, who are, some of them are heroes, some of them are villains in the comics, but I think even in the Arrowverse, these characters do not fit in the Justice League, and although all of these characters, a lot of them have much bigger roles than others, every single one of these heroes is a part of the main battle at the end, and they have a big role in the end. They are all in a team-up shot, they all fight the villains at the end, every single one of the villains, like the army of the Nazi soldiers from Earth X, so that's why I consider these characters, although some of them have very minor roles in the crossover, they're all a part of the main team because they do appear at the end in the team-up shot, and they are a big part of the main battle, but I think it's a little bit too large, and they have a lot of characters that just do not belong on a Justice League. Nevertheless, I think this is a pretty good version of the Justice League for the Arrowverse, so it gets 8 out of 12 points. In terms of the side heroes, there's really only one, Kid Flash, aka Wally West, who had a pretty major role in the first episode as he was attending his sister's wedding, but also he had a pretty major role in the fight between this Justice League, or the group of heroes that were at Iris and Barry's wedding, who fought the Earth X invaders, but after that he did disappear and didn't really have any role at all in the next 3 episodes, so the side heroes part of it does get a 3 out of 6 because Kid Flash was pretty great in that first episode, and he's a pretty great character in general, but he also had a very, very small role, and he was also only one character. The behind-the-scenes crew is where this crossover really struggles. It consists of Iris, Felicity, and Harry Wells. Although Harry Wells is great for the most part, he also doesn't get too much of a big role, and he doesn't really contribute much. But then there's Iris and Felicity, which actually bring down the crossover quite a lot. They get way too much screen time. They accomplish things that they definitely should not be able to accomplish, and they just put in situations that they should not be put in, which is why the behind-the-scenes crew of this crossover gets 1 out of 4 points. The other part of this group consists of Windshot from Earth X as well as Red Tornado from Earth X, who are both kind of antagonists this time around as they are trying to destroy a Nazi base, but this means that the team that we are focusing on can't get home afterwards, but at the same time, they are kind of definitely good guys as they're fighting for the freedom fighters against the Nazis, and on top of that, Red Tornado is a pretty major member of the Justice League in the comics, so I will give this part of the team a 1 out of 1 for that 1 extra bonus point, giving Crisis on Earth X a 13 out of 23 and the 3rd placing on this list. In second place, we have the Justice League from Invasion. Invasion is a pretty great crossover in my opinion, a little bit better than Crisis on Earth X, but the actual main team, the Justice League, I feel like is basically equal in quality to the one from Crisis on Earth X. This time around, we have the Green Arrow, aka Oliver Queen, the Flash, aka Barry Allen, Supergirl, aka Kara Danvers, White Canary, aka Sarah Lance, the Atom, aka Ray Palmer, Firestorm, aka Jefferson Jackson and Martin Stein, Vibe, aka Cisco Ramon, Spartan, aka John Diggle, Heatwave, aka Mick Rory, Vixen, aka Maya Jiwei, and Citizen Steel, aka Nate Haywood. It does have a lot less characters than Crisis on Earth X, but that also means that it's a lot more character focused, but at the same time, it also does not have a couple superheroes that I definitely feel like could be a main staple of the Justice League, like Black Canary or Mr. Terrific, or even the Ray. A lot of characters that Crisis on Earth X does have that this one doesn't, but I do feel like, for instance, the team-up shot in Invasion is a lot better than in Crisis on Earth X, and the fact that it is a lot smaller, closer to the 7 amount of superheroes that I would like in a Justice League, I do feel like because of that, they're basically equal in quality, which is why I'll give this main team of the Justice League in Invasion also an 8 out of 12. In terms of the side heroes, this time around we do have a lot better of a team with Speedy, aka Thea Queen, Ragman, aka Rory Regan, Wild Dog, aka Rene Ramirez, and Mr. Terrific, aka Curtis Holt, basically the entirety of Team Arrow, except for the Green Arrow and Spartan. This is definitely a pretty good slate of side heroes. Speedy has a major role in the first 2 episodes, and has a pretty great storyline in the 2nd episode as well. Ragman, Wild Dog, and Mr. Terrific definitely have a way smaller roles, with Ragman, and especially Mr. Terrific, feeling more like a behind-the-scenes crew, as opposed to Wild Dog, who definitely feels more of a side hero than those two. Either way, I do think this is a pretty good side hero slate, and I'll give it a 4 out of 6. For the behind the scenes crew, you have Felicity, Caitlin, HR, Lily Stein, and kind of Curtis a little bit. I do think this is a pretty good behind the scenes crew. I don't really like HR. I think he's the worst Harrison Wells by far, but he is pretty funny in this crossover. Felicity's also kind of funny in this crossover, and she's not bad at all. Caitlin's also pretty good. Lily Stein, although she is a very new character, and I don't think she's great in this, I do think that she has a huge role to play, as she did help create the thing that stopped the Dominators at the end. And Curtis also, he has some pretty good moments, so in general I do think it's a pretty good behind the scenes crew, but also at the same time they're not incredible as behind the scenes crew, especially since Cisco is more of a main character on the team than a behind the scenes crew. But anyway, I'll give it a 3 out of 4. In terms of the other, you have Lila Michaels and Iris West, which does not add enough to the crossover to warrant this extra points, so Invasion in the end gets a total of 15 out of 23 points. In first place, we have, in my opinion, easily the best Justice League in the Arrowverse ever, and that is the Justice League from Elseworlds. This Justice League, the main team consisted of very, very small amount of characters, only 4, which I will say 2 is not enough for a Justice League like in Flash vs. Arrow, but I think 4 definitely is. You have the Green Arrow, aka Barry Allen for the most part, the Flash, aka Oliver Queen for the most part, Supergirl, aka Kara Danvers, and Superman, aka Clark Kent, although Green Arrow is aka Oliver Queen in the 3rd episode, and so is the Flash, aka Barry Allen in the 3rd episode. But I do think that the first 2 episodes is where these teams shined, especially in the first. In that first episode, in the end, when the Green Arrow, the Flash, Supergirl, and Superman all teamed up to fight Amazo, this never felt more like a Justice League than ever before. 1, because they're fighting a major Justice League villain in Amazo, but 2, also because they don't have any like characters like Zari or Alex or Heatwave to bring them down to feel like it's not a Justice League, and also they have Superman, probably the main Justice League member. Like the Justice League, you can't really have a Justice League without Superman, which is why that this main team feels so much more like a Justice League than the rest. I love the back and forth between Green Arrow and the Flash, and also Green Arrow, the Flash, and Supergirl. And also, although Superman didn't have a major role in the 2nd episode, he was great in the 1st, and I did like him quite a lot in the 3rd as well. So I'll give this main team of the Justice League a 10 out of 12. Not only is the main team great in Elseworlds, the side heroes are pretty great as well. The main one is Batwoman, who had a very, very, very major role in the second episode and a cameo role in the first and third, but she was great in the second. But also you have Martian Manhunter, who was in the final battle, but he didn't really fight anybody and he barely appeared at all. But I do like the fact that he appeared, because just like Superman and the Flash as well, he is a major, major main character as a part of the Justice League. There's also John Diggle, aka Spartan, Killer Frost, aka Caitlin Snow, Brainiac 5, aka Quirrell Dox, and the Flash from Earth 90, aka Barry Allen. I think this is a great, great number of side characters, and there's not really more you can ask for the side characters in this Justice League, so I will give this part of it a 6 out of 6. The behind-the-scenes crew of Elseworlds is really only Felicity Smoke and Curtis Holt, as the rest of the characters have very, very small roles. The behind-the-scenes crew is only really present in the second episode as they help out in the whole Earth 90 thing, and although Caitlin Snow is a part of it as well, she is also a part of the other heroes, so I will put her there and not here. But Felicity Smoke and Curtis Holt are not bad in this crossover, and I will give it a 2 out of 4 in the behind-the-scenes department. But in terms of the other category, this crossover had Alex Danvers from Earth 1, who definitely would not give Elseworlds this extra point. You also have Iris, Sherlock, and Ralph, which Sherlock might kind of be a behind-the-scenes character in that first episode. I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to consider all three of these characters other, and none of them would give Elseworlds that extra point. The character that does give Elseworlds the extra point is Lois Lane, who kind of verges on the side hero, but I don't want to put Lois Lane in a side hero because she's not a superhero. She's a love interest to Superman, and I would feel weird doing that. But at the same time, she did have basically the same role that Brainiac 5 and Martian Manhunter did have in that third episode, but also she appeared in the first episode as well, so she's going to be in the other category, giving Elseworlds this extra point, which technically for the list it didn't really need, because in the end Elseworlds has a total of 19 points, giving it the first place slot on this list. Oh, and in terms of the actual crossovers between Supergirl and The Flash, which are kind of honorable mentions, if I were to include them on this list, the one from World's Finest, which is basically the main team, is just Supergirl and The Flash, while the side heroes, behind-the-scenes crew, and other are all basically Supergirl characters. That would definitely be last place on the list before The Flash vs. Arrow, so at 6th place, I guess. But then there's actually the one from Duet, which has a pretty good Justice League of Supergirl, The Flash, Kid Flash, Vibe, Martian Manhunter, and yeah, that's it as the main team, and the side heroes, behind-the-scenes crew, and other are all going to be characters from The Flash. That would actually go over The Flash vs. Arrow, maybe even over Heroes Joint Forces, because it has both The Flash and Martian Manhunter, as well as Supergirl, which is more Justice League characters than those two do, or more good Justice League characters than those two do. So I think the Justice League team from Duet would actually be higher up on the list than Flash vs. Arrow, or even Heroes Joint Forces, but these are just honorable mentions, and I'm not actually including them in this ranking. So that is it for this ranking. Let me know your ranking in the comments down below for which one of these Justice Leagues you think is the worst to the best, and let me know in the comments down below what you think, which superheroes you want to see on the Crisis on Infinite Earths Justice League, and where you think that crossover's Justice League will place in this ranking, hopefully at the #1 slot. Let me know all that in the comments, and if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.